What's up everyone, I'm Twisted, and today we'll be taking a look at a new motion comic about Vayne called What We Fear. We'll learn a bit about her past, we'll get a couple teasers for the next League champion, and yep, Vayne's new skin is indeed canon. Let's get to it. The comic starts with this paragraph, which sums up Vayne's life until now. As you may already know, Vayne's parents were murdered by a demon, and that's the reason why she devoted her life to hunting demons. Here we learn that this comic takes place a decade after her parents were killed. So I assume this is also taking place after Vayne traveled to the Freljord and her story with Frey, the mentor she later killed. Assuming this story will remain canon, of course. And assuming that Vayne's bio is still canon, she should be at least 26 in this comic, since her parents died when she was 16. Here we also learn that Vayne received a letter from a family friend, asking her for help dealing with a demon in the Wyldwoods of Demacia. We'll find out who this friend is in this comic. The Wyldwoods are forests in the outskirts of Demacia. Last season we learned that a sudden bloom of magic happened in these forests, and, like I explained before, this is likely tied to all the other blooms of magic we've seen throughout Runeterra, like in Piltover and in Ionia. Also a reminder that Vayne is her family name, her first name is Shauna.
Shauna, I'm sorry. I have no one else to turn to.
The comic begins with Vayne already in the Wyldwoods, in front of an old house. The person talking is the family friend mentioned at the start, and what we are hearing is the letter he wrote to Vayne. The letter has this symbol, which likely represents his family, as we'll see at the end of the comic.
This ward would have kept most demons at bay.
Vayne enters the house to find a ward on the ground that was supposed to repel demons. As we can see, this new Vayne skin is indeed canon. Previously I mentioned how this could just be an alternate future for Vayne, but no, this is indeed a younger Vayne. This is what she looked like before she became the Vayne we see in-game, and before the Sentinels of Light story, assuming both are still canon. Vayne will not be wearing these glasses the whole comic, and since she's wearing them here when analyzing the ward, I think these glasses might have the ability to detect magic, but that's just speculation.
I know you don't trust me. I, your parents, all of us, we failed you. I can't change the past. I deserve my fate. But you deserve the truth, and I'm almost out of time. Please, Shauna, save us from this demon, and I'll tell you anything you want to know.
The friend mentions how Vayne doesn't trust him. In this comic we won't learn why this is, but knowing who Vayne is, it wouldn't surprise me if he used magic in some way. He says that he and her parents failed her. We don't know exactly what this means though. He could be referring to her parents dying, leaving Vayne alone, or something else. Something happened in the past that caused Vayne to distance herself from this person. We just don't know what that was. Regardless, there's something that he knows that Vayne doesn't. A truth she deserves to know. Vayne picks up a necklace, this will be relevant in the next page.
All that practice and you still can't keep up with me.
We then get a flashback and we see a younger Vayne, but she's not alone. This person right here is Locke, the upcoming League champion. They have red glasses and light hair, like the character from Garant's comic, and they're wielding a giant nail, just like the one from the teaser of the upcoming champion. Here we can also point out that his glasses look like the ones from Vayne's current look. We can see that Vayne is wearing some light blue, likely referencing the dark blues she'll wear later in life. Her hairstyle is also similar to the one she has in League, while in this comic and in the new skin, she sports a shorter cut. Also, her hair was lighter when she was younger, but hair getting darker as people age is not uncommon. Finally, this part of her outfit is shaped like a wing, could be something related to her family, but it could also just be a Demacian thing. Vayne says that Locke can't keep up with her. As we saw in the previous panel, she hit all of her arrows in the center of the target, while Locke missed all of his nails.
Relax, I was just messing around.
Boy, control yourself.
Locke, who doesn't say a word in this comic by the way, throws his nail into the forest. This causes another character to approach him. We could see them in the first panel as well, overseeing the duo training. So we can assume that this person was teaching them. He is also wearing red glasses like Locke, implying that there's a stronger connection between the two. Their red and black clothes are very similar to those Vayne will later wear, though I'm not sure why yet. It's possible that these actually belong to her parents. If you look closely, you might also notice the same necklace Vayne will later find, meaning that this old house likely belonged to him, which will make sense as we continue the comic. But for now, I can tell you that this is Vayne's family friend, the one who wrote the letter asking her for help.
You know what your mother would do if she saw you.
It's possible that Locke is also part of the Vayne family, but the way this character speaks of his mother makes me believe this might be his father. Again, this explains why both of their designs have these red glasses. Like I said, it implies a connection between the two. If so, this means that Locke is just a childhood friend of Vayne, with their families being close.
Please don't encourage him, Shauna. You know these woods are off limits.
I'm aware.
Good. Then let's keep our distance until your parents are done with their business here.
What's so scary about these woods? All I see are trees, trees, and more trees.
I'll tell you when you're older. But remember this.
This page is here to show us that the duo is curious about the Wyldwoods, and that the truth about these forests is something they are not old enough yet to know. As we'll see, it's because these forests are full of demons. And that's interesting, because that means that even more than a decade ago, these forests were already magical, and that this sudden bloom of magic perhaps only caused some instability in this magic, as opposed to bringing it to the forests. This panel right here tells us that Vayne's parents were in the woods for a reason. What that reason is, we won't learn exactly in this comic, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were here because of the demons, as in maybe her parents were also hunting them. Though this is just speculation. The comic is very intentionally vague about her parents and what they were up to. This will likely be a big reveal later this season. Her parents being alive confirms that this is happening before Evelynn killed them and before Vayne started training to hunt demons. So it's interesting to see her already practicing with a crossbow, as her bio doesn't mention her doing this in her childhood.
Those who enter that forest never leave unchanged.
We jump back to the present. The woods from Vayne's past become the woods in the present, telling us that she is in the same place, which explains why the house is nearby. The Wyldwoods are now described as teeming with demons and dark magics.
Didn't we tell you to stay away from these woods? Our train amounted to this pathetic display!
A monstrous demon attacks Vayne. If we look closely, we can notice that the demon's body is made out of dozens of hands. The demon calling her by her first name and saying it warned her to stay away from the woods reveals to us who is actually speaking, Vayne's family friend. We can also spot his clothes here. This line confirms that he was indeed teaching her and Locke, but he could have also taught Vayne after her parents died.
Here. Thank you.
Niles.
Vayne is able to shoot the man inside the demon, revealing it to indeed be the man we saw in the flashback. His name is also revealed here, he is called Niles. And this might be a stretch, but I think the name Niles could be a pun on nails, Locke's weapons.
What have you done? What truth have you been hiding?
Well, I'm sure you recall the healings your parents came to receive.
In the next page, Vayne asks him about the truth he mentioned in the letter, and here we can spot the demon still around Niles. Niles mentioned the healings her parents came to receive, the implication being that these healings were either magical healings, or, most likely because of the quotation marks, that this was just what they told Vayne, when in reality they were doing something else, like for example meddling with demons or dark magics. Again, we won't learn what her parents were actually up to. Worth mentioning that this is likely the truth from Vayne's voice lines against Locke.
They meddled with power. They did not fully understand. And they were more depraved than the demon who killed them.
As the demon takes over Niles again, his right eye turns red, the same eye that's right next to this speech bubble. Notice how this is different from the previous one, as we're seeing Niles transition from normal to being under the demon's influence. And under this influence, we can see him saying that her parents were more depraved than the demon who killed them. Obviously, this is the demon taunting Vayne. I don't think her parents actually became worse than Evelynn, but the demon knows Vayne hates magic. So again, the implication seems to be that her parents were using magic in some way, and this is something that obviously does not make Vayne happy.
You disgusting, wretched, vile, lying abomination!
Vayne kills Niles, but the demon still lives, and its hands now crawl to her. It takes advantage of Vayne's emotional state. As she's trying to deal with the truth that was just revealed to her, the demon gets a hold of her. We can see the moment Vayne becomes the host for this demon. Notice how her speech bubble becomes just like Niles when he was under the demon's influence, just red instead of blue. Later her eyes will also show up as red, like his.
Scheming filth! I never should have trusted him! All demons must die! Every last one! Yes, this is how it has to be! They deserve their fate!
The environment around her changes as her vision is now influenced by the demon. We see another Vayne reflected below her, one with a hand on her head, the demon's hand. This is also how she looks during her ultimate in this new skin. A reminder that this demon seems to feed on and amplify Vayne's paranoia, causing her to see things that aren't actually there, like we saw in a Korean exclusive comic, but also allowing her to see a special emotional spectrum, the same thing demons see. At least this is what is implied in her voice lines and in the description of the new skins. Consider checking out my video on that topic. Whether or not this is really how people and demons look from a demon's perspective, or if this is just a demon messing with Vayne's perception, we don't know for sure. This bird with multiple eyes could just be a random demon, or it could also just be a normal bird that looks demonic because Vayne is under the influence of a demon. But if this is indeed a demon bird, then, well, a demon bird with eyes does sound like it could be related to Swain, doesn't it? Maybe this is one of his ravens, but we are seeing how it looks in this special emotional spectrum. Obviously, it could be tied to Fiddlesticks, but I think it being tied to Swain is more interesting, as it implies that Swain has eyes even in the secluded forests of Demacia. But again, this could also just be Vayne's demon messing with her. Eyes are a bit of a motif of this demon after all. Next, we see a light blue figure approach Vayne. I think it's obvious that this character is Locke. He is the only other character present in the flashback after all. Again, it's worth noting that we are seeing things from Vayne's new perspective, which means Locke probably doesn't really have these light blue effects on his clothes. But this could be implying that he does have some kind of magic, either because he's a mage or because he's wielding a magical artifact. The teaser did show one of his nails with fire coming out of it.
Another repulsive fiend crawling out from the shadows.
In this page we leave Vayne's perspective. We are no longer seeing things from her demon-corrupted vision. The forest is back to normal and we see what Vayne actually looks like, which is herself but with red eyes, magic on her arm, and a demon above her. According to the skin's description, Vayne is not aware of the demon that's using her, so in the previous panels, she technically already looked like this. But since we were seeing things from her perspective, her appearance looked normal. Now we are transitioning to a normal perspective, maybe even Locke's, so we see Vayne how she actually looks. The final panel has Vayne recognize this person, which again just confirms this is Locke. We can see his left arm, which is full of tattoos. These have the same diamond shape as the symbol on Niles' letter, reinforcing the connection between him and Locke. For now, I do believe they are father and son. This might also confirm that his family has some kind of magical power or magical knowledge. The diamonds are also blue, the same color Vayne was seeing around Locke. Again, this is likely tied to whatever power he wields. And that was it for this comic. Not much happened, but I really liked all the little setups and teasers, like Vayne finding the necklace in the old house, and we later seeing it around Niles' neck in the flashback. Speaking of which, it's always nice to see younger versions of champions, seeing what they look like when they were kids, and seeing Vayne becoming the host of a demon was also cool, and I'm curious to see where her story will go, and what role Locke will play in it. That being said, this is a major addition to her lore. Niles and Locke are brand new characters, never before mentioned. Vayne having some training so young is also new. This new mystery surrounding her parents and whatever they were doing with magic is brand new as well, not to mention the elephant, or should I say demon, in the room. So far, nothing about this retcons previous lore, but that can still happen later this season. Either way, major changes to the lore are always scary, just ask the fans of Shinjo. With this being said, I'll be saving my judgment for when this story concludes, which shouldn't take long as this season will be a shorter one. Did I miss anything? Let me know down below, and tell me what your thoughts are on the new comic and on this new storyline for Vayne. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, it's free and you can always change your mind later. I'm Twisted and I'll see you guys in the next video.